Welcome to Competition Curious, the blog, vlog, and podcast for marketers and business owners who are curious about running competitions. I am your host, Suki Van Kay. I am the world's first and only dedicated expert strategist and complete nerd when it comes to competitions. In this week's episode 11, I am answering a common question that I get asked when it comes to competitions. Are tag and share competitions allowed? So if you're curious to know the answer, let's dive in. So this is one of those questions that I get asked all the time, and it merits its own episode because it is just one of those questions that is so important. So the risks of running a tag and share competition when you don't know whether they are permitted is that it can get your account shut down, and that's just too big a risk to take. So I want to talk you through whether tag and share competitions are allowed on Facebook and Instagram, the two main platforms that people generally tend to run these types of competitions on. So before we dive into answering this question itself, I just wanted to backtrack a little bit and look at what a tag and share competition actually is. So I've mentioned that they are usually done on Instagram and Facebook, and they will usually look a little bit something like this. It's giveaway time. To enter the competition, simply they might say like and follow the page, and don't forget to tag your friends. For every friend that you tag in the comments, you will get an extra entry. And if you share the competition to your stories or to your timeline, you will also get extra entries. So this is the type of tag and share competition that you will see run on Instagram and Facebook. Essentially, what it is trying to expand your reach and get new followers by encouraging your existing audience and your entrants to tag friends in the hope that when those friends are tagged, they will also follow your profile too. So now we know what a tag and share competition is, let's move on to answering that all-important question. Are they allowed on Facebook and Instagram? Let's kick off with Facebook because they are far easier to interpret than Instagram's rules, despite them being owned by the same parent company, go figure. And they are also super crystal clear when it comes to tagging and sharing. So Facebook's contest rules state, and I quote, "Your promotion must not require or incentivize participants to share, repost, tag others, or in any way publicize your promotion." So again, your promotion must not require or incentivize participants to share, repost, tag others, or in any other way publicize your promotion. Now, these have fairly recently changed. They have added in the fairly vague or in any other way publicize your competition, and also the condition there about incentivizing and encouraging people. So previously, it was a little bit more crystal clear. They're still so much clearer than Instagram's rules, but I do just want to caveat here and say, these rules are the rules as at the time this episode was published. Now, I do encourage you every single time you run a competition, regardless of the platform, to always double check that platform's rules just to make sure you have got the most up-to-date version, because as we have just seen, the rules do change. All right, so what does that actually mean for your competition? So the wording there, you cannot require, that basically means you cannot put it as any part of your entry process, a compulsory part of your entry process that people must tag or share or repost or any of those criteria to actually get an entry into your competition. It also mentions incentivizing, and this usually would cover offering extra entries or other rewards or perks for sharing the competition. This means on Facebook's platform, share and tag competitions are absolutely, categorically, non-negotiably not permitted. And that's a full stop. You cannot tag, you cannot share as part of your competition on Facebook. So let's move on to Instagram, which isn't quite so clear cut as Facebook. So Instagram's rules state, and I quote, "You must not inaccurately tag content or encourage users to inaccurately tag content." Brackets. Example, don't encourage people to tag themselves in photos if they aren't in the photo. So to read that again, You must not inaccurately tag content or encourage users to inaccurately tag content. Example, don't encourage people to tag themselves in photos if they aren't in the photo. So as this rule doesn't specifically mention sharing, I guess, in theory, sharing is technically not expressly forbidden on the platform. So you could run a share competition on Instagram, unlike Facebook. But what about when it comes to tagging? Every so often, there are gray areas in the rules. And it was actually one of my Instagram followers that brought this one to my attention. So the wording of this particular rule doesn't make it clear whether it's specifically tagging someone in a photo that isn't permitted, or whether it's tagging someone like a tag a friend in the comments competition that is not permitted. And the reason why this is a little bit grey and a little bit murky is specifically because of the wording of the rule. So it says here, you must not inaccurately tag content or encourage users to inaccurately tag content. Then in brackets, it gives an example. Example, don't encourage people to tag themselves in photos if they aren't in the photo. The problem here that makes this rule so murky and so unclear and so uncertain is that they use the word tag and they say tag contents. You must not inaccurately tag content, but they don't actually define what tag means, whether it's a literal tag in a photo or whether it's a mention in the comments. And it also says content. It doesn't say specifically don't tag people in photos or specifically don't tag people in comments or don't tag people in photos or comments. So I decided to get my Sherlock Holmes hat out and investigate whether tag a friend in the comment competitions were permitted on Instagram or not. And what I found was actually quite interesting, at least if you're a competition nerd like me. What I was hoping for was a really clear-cut definition of what Instagram considers to be content, so we can get clarification on whether comments and photos class as content or whether it's just the photo in the video that classes as content, and therefore tag a friend in the comments should be permitted. I didn't find a clear-cut definition of content, of course, nothing's never that easy, but I did find a very interesting help section in their help articles on Instagram about tagging and mentions. So specifically the section was called tagging and mentions. And when I was looking through their help articles, how do I tag someone in a photo? How do I mention someone in the comments? It appeared to me that Instagram refers specifically to tagging when it comes to @ing someone on a photo or on a video. And they refer to mentions when it comes to @ing someone in the comments. And when I say @ing, what I mean is and then adding the username so that it tags them. So Instagram seemed to make a clear definition between tags referring to photos and videos and mentions referring to comments. So this would technically lead me to believe that tagging friends in the comment, or what Instagram would call mentioning friends in the comment, is technically allowed on the platform. However, I do want to add a disclaimer here. The only way to know 100% for sure whether tag a friend comments are permitted on Instagram under this rule would be to run a competition and to report the post. Now, this is super, super risky, and I definitely would not recommend this strategy, because if it does break this rule, then your account will be shut down and you will lose access to all of your followers. So in light of this really grey rule and murky area when it comes to Instagram's rules on tag and share competitions, I do just want to take this opportunity to remind you that your priority should always be to bring people off of social media and onto your website and onto your email list. This is so that you're not subject to dodgy iOS changes in the rules from Apple and mercurial algorithm updates and changes and experiments, and also users reporting your posts and potentially having your account shut down. That said, it doesn't mean that you can't still have tags, you can't still have shares, and you can't still aim for engagement on social media. All it means is that your primary entry method for your competition won't be tagging and sharing. Let me explain what I'm talking about. So firstly, what you can do is you can ask for tags without making it an entry requirement. So your competition as an entry requirement will be go to the website, enter your name, enter your email, and you will go in the draw to win a romantic getaway for two. On social media, you will say, don't forget to enter our romantic giveaway for two competition. Who would you take with you if you win? You're not specifically stating that they must tag someone or share the post with someone in order to get an entry. What you're doing is you're asking a question for engagement. And I guarantee that 9 times out of 10, when people do answer your question in the comments, they often will tag the post with the person that they want to take with them, or they will share it with someone in the hope that they will enter and take them with them. So this is a way that you can still get tags and shares without making it your primary entry method, without making it an entry requirement, and most importantly, without breaking Facebook or Instagram's rules. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. The only reason we really want tags and shares is because we want to increase our followers. So why don't we just skip straight past the tagging and sharing process and actually ask for the followers? So you can obviously run a follow to win competition. We've covered those at length in previous episodes. You know that they're not my favorite type of competition. They're a waste of time, they're a waste of money, and they have really poor ROI. However, what you can do is you can still get those all important follows as well as email addresses. So again, if we take that example of the romantic getaway, the entry method is to go to the website, enter your name, enter your email, and you go in the draw to win. What you will then do is you will send them a confirmation email once they've entered. And it's in that email that you then encourage them to follow you on your social media platforms. At no point are you asking them to do anything that breaks any of Facebook or Instagram's rules. But what you are doing is you're still encouraging people to follow you. You're still getting those all important email addresses. And you're also keeping your email provider happy in the process because you're getting those click-throughs on those emails that you're sending. In addition to this, you are not going to experience that follow, unfollow roller coaster that you often get with like, follow, tag, share to win competitions. So what this means is that during the competition, you require people to follow you. So your following jumps up, your engagement jumps up. Once the competition is over, you announce your winner and they find out they haven't won. They will then unfollow and stop engaging. So your engagement and your follower numbers tank. And this is not going to be good for your social media. And this is not going to be good for your business in general. If you're hoping to attract genuine people who want to follow you, who want to be involved with your brand, and who ideally want to buy from you. So what have we learned about tag and share competitions today? First of all, we have learned that on Facebook, they are absolutely, categorically, 100% not permitted. Do not, under any circumstances, require your entrants to tag and share to get an entry on Facebook. You will risk your page getting shut down and losing all of your followers. We have also learned that Instagram has some pretty murky rules when it comes to tag and share. What is clear is that sharing isn't specifically mentioned, so it should probably possibly be okay. I wouldn't risk it. And that whilst tagging someone in a photo that they are not in is definitely against the rules, it still isn't 100% clear whether you can tag friends in the comments in order to get an entry, or whether that breaks the rules or not. We have also finally learned that we can still grow our following on social media and get that all important engagement without asking people to tag and share or like and follow as the entry process itself. There are a number of ways that you can increase your following without actually requiring it as part of your entry and risking your page or profile because you're breaking the rules. So that's it for this week's episode. I have been Suki Van Kay. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could rate and review. Also, don't forget to share it with your business owner and marketing friends. And if you want to be notified when the next Competition Curious episode is released, then please don't forget to follow and subscribe. And I will see you next week for the next episode of Competition Curious. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Sorry, I'm really sorry I couldn't resist.